It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, let's review.
We'll analyze the scene.
Sounds holly jolly to me.
Before it's over, let's begin.
Bum.
Bum.
That's right, folks. Since the Christmas season is upon us, we thought the way to celebrate and get into the holiday spirit would be with some holiday reviews.
6 to be exact. Selected and arranged for your Yuletide pleasure.
So, silver up those bells, light the multicolored lights, and go out and build a snowman as we engage in some
Seasonal
seasonal
shenanigans!
shenanigans. Oh man, what was that on my end? Seasonal
Honestly,
shenanigans.
honestly, because it's been a while and someone missed our inaugural return, I forgot if we do it at the same time or not.
We do it at the same time.
Well, I
Yeah,
know we do it at the end, but okay. Anyway,
it's like a movie memoirs thing.
well,
This
yeah.
is this is why we rehearse.
Well, some of
All
us
right.
need to show up to rehearsal. Anyway,
Sorry.
who's here with us, Tiki?
We got Jacob Weil here with us as well.
And nice to be here, guys.
We're talking Violent Night. This is, of course, the new David Arbor kind of. It's the Universal
Harbor.
Arbor. I don't know
He's not
why.
a holiday about trees.
For some reason, I always think that the H is silent. I don't know why. It's weird. Maybe like back in the day, some people pronounced it like that, and it's stuck in my head. I'm sorry. David Harbour's film. Yeah. I gotta tell you guys, I think this film it's decent. It's fun. I'm not overly impressed by it. I think it does have some pretty creative kills. A couple in particular. The Home Alone sequence was a lot of fun, and let's just say the villain gets gets his comeuppance in a really memorable way. I will say I think the film has a decent pace to it. It's it's a nice little 7 out of 10 movie. I think it's kind of like the definition of a of a studio movie that has a fun premise. I'm not really gonna. This isn't gonna be like a classic for me by any means, but I don't know. It's a decent little fun film. David Harbour actually is surprisingly, I don't know if you guys felt this way, but he's surprisingly almost a little bit restrained with the performance. Like the performance is almost like he's just a guy that's like had it up to here with his job, and he's like kind of like checked out of his job, and he doesn't really give a crap at this point. I don't know. It's a lot less bombastic of a performance than I thought it would be. So overall, I thought it was a good time. Had some creative stuff going on, but very very thin plot overall. I don't know. It was just all right.
Dragon.
Yes, I mean, I saw the trailer for this. To me, was like an instant sell. It was admittedly, it's an idea that could go either way. Depending on the execution. It's very much one of those trailers of like, okay, I gotta see this, but it could very well go either way. For me, for me, it's kind of like a wish fulfillment thing because I've always loved the idea of a Santa Claus as like an action hero or a superhero, which I've kind of gleamed at like kind of somewhat over the years. Something like Fairly Odd Parents with the big Santa fight in that Christmas episode, or Fat Man in recent years for a recent example. Of like, okay, this is not exactly what I was going for, but for me, Fat Man was far more restrained in terms of like, well, it did not really go the broader direction we thought. Well, but still, it was refreshing.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm saying. I've always kind of liked the idea of Santa Claus in an action context because so rarely ever, because he's always so jolly and friendly and pleasant. But like, what if we could keep those qualities, but also kind of put him in, have a little fisticuffs in the holidays, a little festive fisticuffs, if you will. But yeah, I mean, casting flawless on David Harbour. The man brings it every role he's got, even in the movies that are less than. He's bringing it. It's Die Hard with Santa. It has a lot of laughs, but also surprisingly a lot of heart. I admittedly a few of the side characters, we don't really they really don't need. I don't think they necessarily drag the movie down. It just feels a little more like our plot is kind of by the numbers, but then kind of raised by the action and performances that is going on. I kind of question a few bits in our plotting because of that, but it's charming. It's a charming, irreverent, violent movie, one could say, and I think it delivers on all that. Much like Santa.
All right, I guess my turn. It's like this is. It's kind of one of the hard stuff. I actually first heard about this movie through word of mouth. Like Dragon, I believe you're the one that mentioned it to me. I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and I mentioned, I was like, no, what is this? And you're like, it's this movie. It's like, it's this movie about Santa, and it's played by David Harbour, and he's killing people, or something along those lines. And I was like, I was intrigued by it, but I think it was when I went to see Black Adam when I saw the trailer. When I actually saw the trailer for it, and I was like, okay, this looks better than I was expecting it to be. I mean, based on the description alone. And I have to admit, even going in, it definitely matched my expectations. Like I said, I mean, probably not a holiday classic as you guys said, but as far as like pure popcorn entertainment goes, it's kind of hard to go wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, does it have like the most like deep plot or anything? No, but then again, you are getting what you pay for. You're getting like a grizzled old Santa going around creatively killing people. So, and it's not like the movie's offensively terrible or anything. So, it's like you know what you're going in, and I say it delivers, as Dragon said. And I think anybody who knows what they're getting in for will definitely enjoy it, and I definitely did. Obviously, like Dragon said, some parts did kind of feel like they were forced in for a little, like there were some like the writers had no idea like how some people actually would behave in the real world. But then again, it's a movie about a killer Santa, so that might not be what they were going for in the first place. But either way, like I said, it's a lot of it. The movie was a lot. I definitely had fun, and that's probably one of the most important things.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely was not bored by this movie for sure, which is in like for a movie like this, that is definitely the most important quota you need to meet. So props there. It definitely it wastes no time. Honestly, one of the refreshing things I found about this movie was the lack. This is gonna sound weird, given kind of part of the sell is like it's a different take on Santa, but I really appreciated the fact that even the Santa character himself isn't quite sure exactly how the magic works. Like, I found that really refreshing in, a cinema landscape where a lot of things are kind of like overly explained. I don't know. Did you guys like that?
Like I did kind of find it interesting. I was like how they kind of kept it an enigma, and especially since it wasn't really important to the plot of the movie, even. So I was like, I can see why they wouldn't explain. Like, I don't know how it works.
Yeah, like we don't really get any check-in at the North Pole or anything like that. Like a lot of times with these sort of Santa movies, we have to spend a lot of time with the world building and setting up, okay, what are the elves like? What is the toy production like? And this movie, like, for good reason, because it is like a nice, lean and mean, low-budget action movie. It kind of skips all that, and I kind of appreciate that.
Yeah. Dragon?
Well, I'm sorry, before we go any further, should I get into some background, or should we just, like...
Oh, I didn't know you had background. I'm sorry.
I sent you the... Yeah.
Yeah, again, this is why we should have rehearsed. My bad.
Anyway, just real quick, so a few things about this. So, Tommy Wirkola, if I'm saying that right, Wirkola directed this. So the guy who did Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, which I believe is the one with Jeremy Renner.
Yep. And the writer of the movie actually wrote the two Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
Yes, Patrick Casey and Josh Miller. So yeah, and the Nobody producers were on this. The most notable, which being David Leitch, of course, who did Bullet Train and Deadpool 2.
I need to see Bullet Train. That's on Netflix.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard good things about it.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see it in theaters. I just never got around to it.
Same.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, I remember Tiki, you saw a whole bunch of other movies, but not Bullet Train. When Bullet Train came out.
Yeah, a whole bunch of movies that I was interested in. I'm not really an action movie guy, so hence, if I watch it on Netflix, I can, take breaks. Kind of the point. I heard it was a little bit of a long movie too, so I don't know.
Anyway.
Sometimes if I'm not engaged in an action movie, it's hard to sit through it in a theater. What can I tell you?
Okay.
Thankfully, this movie is not the case.
Right. So yeah, I think ultimately, no, I don't really have a whole lot of background. It's just, I think nobody opened a lot of doors to get experimental and bold with the action movie kind of format, much like John Wick did to kind of make way for a nobody.
I feel like this
So
movie is kind of like the ultimate culmination of the John Wick subgenre, right?
yeah, it's in that sense, it feels like it's kind of the next progression in that, where we had John Wick, which is like, okay, how do we zhuzh up the action genre so it's not just like a bunch of Bruce Willis shaky cam and like that sort of stuff. So it's it's
Santa.
zhuzh, yeah. Then of course nobody very much turned the John Wick thing on its head of like, okay, well, we're in the John Wick world in essence, and we just kind of like, well, we should have even more realistically. And then of course, then it's like, let's just kind of take a broader approach, and we just kind of we open the door for like, let's just kind of do a grounded take on a Santa Claus and kind of throw him into
We
kind of
need
one
the
of our.
Easter Bunny John Wick movie next.
It's funny you joke about that. Robot Chicken did that Kill Bill Easter Bunny thing.
That's right.
Yeah, or I think it was Jesus versus the Easter Bunny being Bill, essentially kill Easter or something.
Like,
Anyway,
and this movie is fairly realistic beyond the Santa thing.
Yeah.
Like the violence is definitely realistic. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
yeah. Anyway,
Like it does make you feel good with like when Santa gets beat up, you're like, oh no, not Santa. But when the bad guys beat up, you're like, yeah.
For sure.
right. All right. Anyway, so again,
I am
not really.
I am that kind of guy.
Yep. Anyway,
nothing wrong with that.
nothing wrong with that. So not much more background beyond. Let's just dive into it, man. So I guess maybe we should start with the opening. I think sets the tone just right for this movie. What do you guys think?
Yeah, like I said, I like how it just kind of dives right into things.
Like I do kind of appreciate he's obviously done this for about 1,000 years. Apparently, he's just at a bar getting drunk, and but he still does his job.
Yeah, it's just like he's in a bar in Bristol, and we set the tone in that there's whimsy there, like where he kind of like you have this wonderfully whimsical moment with the bartender who's like, oh, and give this to your grandson. Will you? How do you know I had a grandson? Like, oh, the drunkard's gone up to the roof, so she chases him up to the roof, and then basically he and it was a really nice pleasantry by the way, that other Santa buying his drink. That was really nice.
Yeah, that was yeah.
You have some grounded whimsy, and then so we have the whimsy, and then we just have the the irreverency. Where okay, Santa's been drinking a lot during this break, and well, he's going for a heck of a ride right now. Not exactly a car ride, a little worse than that. He's going the reindeer taking off. He was the real Santa. Of course, how do we punctuate this moment, gentlemen?
She gets puked on.
So that's the thing. It's a gross out gag, no question about it. But by the same token, it sets the tone of like, well, there is a grounded reality in this. Like, well, yeah, if Santa was drinking that much, he would throw up, and you don't want to be downwind of him.
It's like, are you drinking? Are you driving? The reindeer do most of the work.
I guess kind of steer a little bit.
I mean, one wonders. I mean, like, there's probably is a lot of motion up there. So if you're drunk, you probably would get a bunch of motion sickness.
Well, it's the same basic principle as like if you get drunk and ride a roller coaster or something.
Yep.
Not a good combo.
No, then I can only imagine.
Not that I would know. I definitely wouldn't know anything about that.
I mean, you definitely would know. Of all of us here, you would know. Of all of us here, you would know.
All right.
I mean, I'm not saying you have, but you would definitely know.
Yes.
Yep.
But anyway,
So this is the point being, this is Santa Claus. He's very disenfranchised here. It's his last year. He doesn't really give. He's kind of in this phase. It's kind of a question of how much this is like business as usual versus what I think has just been kind of a cumulative effect of he just doesn't give a crap as he once did because there's so much naughtiness. And I love the way David Harbour has kind of summarized it at the bar to the other Santa Claus. Like, I do it for the kids, but that joy of them opening the present only lasts about 2 seconds, and it's like, where's the next one?
Honestly, that whole premise kind of did make me reflect on the fact that, like, this is going to be a little bit sappy, but, it is Christmas time. When I was, like, not a kid, but a teenager, a lot of my Christmas gifts, most of them were, I would want physical media. I'd want DVDs and stuff like that, and video games. And, physical media is still a thing. Honestly, ever since I bought a Switch, all my games have been digital only. And I don't really do DVDs anymore, frankly, because I would have more of an incentive to do, physical media as far as like movies go if studios actually put the effort into bonus features that they did back in the day, but they really don't. So, it's, it kind of made me reflect on like, man, like even I, like, like if I was still getting Christmas presents regularly, like I wouldn't even know what to ask for as far as like, from a physical sense, like it's, I don't know, just changing times and all that.
It's because you're not a bonus features guy. That's really what that's about.
I am a bonus features guy. I just said that.
Well, I know you're a bonus. That's what I'm saying. Aside from that, there's your answer, though. You're going to get the movies for the bonus features.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways.
And
okay, so
he does. But even then, he still shows he has that heart of gold when he leaves the presents, though.
So that's like, here's this, Jay. I'm glad you brought that up because one of the bits that charms me. We'll get to the other, obviously the main one with our main child. But I mean, I love that even though we established this with Santa Claus, we have the montage of him delivering gifts and stuff, and obviously doing just like stealing booze and everything. He's like grabbing like the 6-pack and everything,
and also pissing off the side of the sled.
That too, in front of the Washington Monument, nonetheless. I love this adorable, wonderful little bit where he just shows you the humanity and why. This is Santa. David Harbour's absolutely selling me on he's Santa Claus, but this is a Santa Claus kind of at wit's end, where when he leaves that gift for that adorable baby in the crib, and you see the joy on his face, man, that was like this. Okay, this is Santa Claus, and the idea is Santa Claus has his kryptonite is the children, man. That's what gets his heart, man. That's just the fact that he sees like, oh, he's right there, the innocence of the joy of Christmas. There you go, and then of course, obviously, we have this majorly with our main child of the movie. But I guess circling back, so our main plot of the film. So again, it's kind of a movie where it wavers, but the secret weapon is Santa Claus. Where it's like, okay, plot a little by the numbers, a little kind of it's kind of the Diet Coke version of.
So my big note of the plot is that I think it's a little too by the numbers, but by the same time, from a character point of view, I feel like there's a little too much going on. Well, if that makes sense.
Well, for me, with the characters, it was that. It's like a one. Tiki, I'm sure you appreciate this. It's very much like a Succession Christmas. What if Succession turned into a hostage situation? It's like it's the 1%ers.
As good as that, Dragon.
I know it's not as good as that. I'm saying in terms of it feels like a 1%er version of Die Hard, which the 1%er feels very much like it's the Succession relatives that don't really, are always competing.
Okay, considering that Succession does put a lot of emphasis on just how like how low level the staff is, how they're always just like laying out all those like magnificent spreads and stuff like that. I could see the unnamed Succession like staff like turning on them. I can see that too.
So I'm just saying in general, it's just the whole like the fact that they're all trying to appease the patriarch of the family, essentially. That's that sort of thing. So it's you have this 1% of Christmas of essentially unlikable family members with the light stones here, and you have Jason and Linda, and mainly they're the most likely only because they have the important part of this family, which is Trudy, the little girl, who is a good kid, and you like the kid. Or on the flip side, you have the Knives Out bunch, which is Alva and Morgan, just like this crappy supercilious actor, and kind of our knockoff Tony Collette, and Bertrude, who essentially is Essentially, it's
The
Justin
name
Bieber.
is literally the funniest part of his character.
Basically, Bertrude's like Justin Bieber if he were an influencer.
Oh God.
That terrible, I know, right?
So my whole thing with the family is like, for one, this isn't the movie's fault, but honestly, I feel like I've just kind of been hit with a lot of this sort of, like 1%er social commentary, sort of like sharp satire in like The Menu Dragon. That movie didn't really land for me, and this kind of felt even more watered down than that did.
And again, it feels very much like, okay, obviously we just need to get into a dire situation, but we need at least a Nakatomi Plaza to set it in, so we have to set up the Nakatomi Plaza, which essentially is like, okay, so there's a rich house. Again, Santa Claus will not go to an office building; he would go to a house. We need a house, and if needing a house, we need a family. And what family is going to have a vault with money that terrorists would want? Well, essentially, again, rich has to be a rich. Again, it's kind of an interesting thing where we need a good kid but a rich family. So that's kind of
okay. But here's the thing, though. Like I get that we need a rich family, but did we really have to go like the literal like Succession, Knives Out kind of direction where the mother is essentially kind of like a female Logan Roy?
Well, that's the thing. It just feels like they're kind of trapped in like, well, we need certain things here. So what's the best we can do? All the good stuff's been done already.
With like a rich family that was actually nice. Like if all the I don't know. Just follow me here. Like correct me if this is too broad of a stroke, but like, wasn't the idea that the characters that we're following are nice and like genuinely good people? Like, wouldn't that make you want to see the characters actually come out of the situation okay?
Well, that's the thing.
Honestly, for the hostage situation, besides the little girl, I could care less about any of these fucks. I really could.
Until
that's
the reveal.
My main problem with the whole movie, honestly.
I'm with you, Tiki, but I'm saying until the reveal later, you kind of have that half and half with, again, at least Trudy's family, at least is the most tolerable of the bunch. But again, you're right. They're not exactly later on what we reveal about Jason, the father, is like, yeah, not really. Again, the guy's not exactly squeaky clean as he is presented here. It's, a divorce, kind of a divorce dynamic, but seemingly good half, then the sleazy half. But no, you're honestly, I think the reason they didn't go fully kind of good or fully bad is that it's that they didn't want to glorify like, hey, rich people are nice. Well,
no. I mean, I get that, but like, did we have to go like cartoony with how like sucky they were?
I mean, honestly, I'm getting pretty tired of all the 1% being assholes thing.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They kind of split the difference on it, so I think they kind of came down in the middle, but it's not enough.
I mean, more often than
I think they more went like 80-20 on it if we're doing like a percentage split. Honestly.
Oh, fine. All right.
I mean,
the mother who's the furthest from the family, is Linda, who's like the divorced from the family essentially, and the daughter. Okay, fine, 20%.
I mean, more often than not, you'll find these people are actually quite nice. It's just that these people just don't like them because of the fact that they're rich.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to cite specific examples, but I definitely know, know families that are rich and kind of salt of the earth myself. So yeah, I hear you.
Wait, really?
Like I said, Dre, I don't want to cite specific.
Well, you don't have to. I'm just asking for like a yes or no. Here's like
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, just like that, there are people like that all over the place. And I'm going to get off the subject here. It was kind of interesting. I didn't recognize her at first until I actually saw the credits, actually. But it was kind of interesting to see Beverly D'Angelo in this kind of role again.
Yeah, she was very funny. Yeah,
it is kind of a cool kind of Christmas reunion for her.
Yeah, it's probably been forever since she's been in a Christmas movie.
Like a fun fact though, it was like long before my mom was there. She actually graduated from the same high school that my mom went to. She graduated from Upper Arlington High School.
Which is the same high school as Winona Ryder.
Oh, that's cool.
I guess.
Anyway. Yeah, well, of course, she's very, very funny in terms of how crude she is, despite being grandma. And of course, grandma swears like Susie Essman. It's hilarious.
I guess, but I mean, we've seen that gag before. It's not exactly.
Well, no, you're right. We have. I'm just saying the fact of doing with Beverly D'Angelo was like all kind of nice in the Christmas Vacation movie. It's like, she's. Yeah. I mean, that's the novelty of that. But But so honestly, when you look at it, I mean, I have to rewatch the fully kind of see it where if our break is, but in watching the movie, it feels like the Die Hard component, admittedly, again, really comes out of nowhere in the movie. It's just
I
like,
think
okay,
this
so
movie, like, I think it would have been better if it would have taken place in like a mall. I think that would have been the perfect setting. And honestly, if they do a sequel to this movie, that would be a perfect setting.
have you seen the way we do the mall Santas now by any chance?
You know what's funny is that on my I have been going up to see my mom, and the bus stop is right by a mall, but I have not gone in at Christmas time yet, so I didn't
So that's
know.
the thing. When the way they do the Santas now, at least they have. I assume they have been for the last couple of years because I think it's still the same thing. Because I see the signs; it look pretty much the same as they have been the past years. Ever since the pandemic, at least I assume that's the reason. They do like a little QR code. You scan the QR code, and it takes you to, I guess, schedules a meeting with the Santa Claus.
Oh, huh,
So you
interesting.
probably go to like a room in like a area of the mall or something, and the
No, the last time I was in my mall, though, I could see that they were setting up like a big, like the usual photo op with the big chair under the tree.
yeah, it's weird because that's how traditionally there's always been done. But I don't
Uh-huh.
know. I think they've changed, at least at my mall, ever since the
I mean, it
pandemic.
could still very well be that you schedule an appointment and it's still, but it is like still kind of prominently in the middle of the mall.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, but I don't know. The mall set. I mean, it's interesting, Tiki, but it just feels. I don't know. I get the house because you want it to be kind of like a really closed-in thing and a place Santa Claus would make on his rounds, and if you want to make it on Christmas Eve, essentially, so that that's the thing. He wouldn't necessarily go to the mall on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah. So we ultimately, it's like I don't really need to like. Okay, so they're basically gonna rob rich people, which tracks, and we have Leguizamo here who has a plan, and he hates Christmas.
This is going to be like the nitpickiest of nitpicks, but did it bother you guys that we never actually gave him a name? He was just Mr. Scrooge.
Well, no, he has a name, Tiki. They do. Remember Santa.
His first name is Jim.
I think
Oh,
it's Jimmy.
okay. I missed that. You know what? I literally went to the bathroom one time. That literally might have happened when I went to the bathroom. I'm sorry.
I believe it's Jimmy Martinez. I think that's his
I
name.
totally, yeah. I literally, I honest to God think I missed that when I went to the bathroom. I honest to God do.
Well,
I mean-
even so, Tiki, they call him Mr.
Well-
That's his code name, but yeah.
And honestly, I mean, I don't think Scrooge, I don't think Santa ever says his name out loud. He does say Jim out loud, but I think his last name is only revealed when he finds the naughty list at the
Yeah.
end.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Or just the list, because it shows both naughty and nice on the
But
same.
why does it
Never
matter?
mind. That was just a dumb nitpick on my end. That
Well,
just
Steve-
literally doesn't matter.
Okay.
Scratch that.
Anyway,
I mean, to be fair, I mean, if you're like going by code names and holiday stuff, like Scrooge is definitely a better name than Jim. Jim.
Yeah.
anyway. So, yes. Also, one Tiki, we have a Bates Motel alumni technically in the group of henchmen. So Krampus, the crazy
Oh my
guy
God,
with the,
Krampus! He was my favorite. Who is he in Bates Motel?
yeah, he's he was. I'm blanking on the last name from Bates. He was Kyle. Remember in Bates Motel season 2 when they were looking for the semen sample that connects to Blair Watson, and basically Romero sells that guy up the river.
Oh my God! Yes. Oh
Forget if
God.
it's so that
Such an obscure Bates Motel.
Well, the
role
thing
was
people
great.
know him for mostly, I'm sure, is like he was like one of the only Freddy Krueger kills in Freddy versus Jason. So he was like, remember the one with they had the brother in the bathtub who was from A Christmas Story, by the way. So even more of a Christmas connect. He was Scott Farkas from A Christmas Story, the brother in the bathtub. But
Yeah, damn, it comes full circle.
yes, it does, and also foreshadow, but we'll get to there.
But so yeah, Krampus was legitimately like one of the most entertaining parts of the whole movie for me.
Him with the Secret Santa thing.
Yes. Like that actor really committed to the bit, man. I was very entertained by
That
him.
guy's good. He does pop up. He's a character actor. He pops up in a lot of stuff.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
It's like you can open your presents now since you won't be alive to see him in the
It's gonna
morning.
be fun, guys. It's gonna be fun.
Of course, you got to punch the Justin Bieber-y kid.
Okay, can we just let's go back to the family just a second because I want to break down just like very quickly. I don't want to spend on a lot of time on it, but literally all of this family sucks. The Justin Bieber kid sucks. The bitch sister sucks. the boyfriend who's the actor, like he gets, spoiler alert, this is kind of a spoiler cast, he gets killed off very early on. There's like, I feel like there's an inkling of his character being potentially funny, but it kind of gets wasted. So like, I don't know, again, like I feel like the mother character is just kind of like default, like there's not really a lot to her. She's just kind of like default, like you root for her because she's not really attached to the family and she's not openly an asshole like the rest of the family. But I don't know. Other than that, I do feel like the movie does go a little bit too hard on, just everyone in the, like, Dragon, you must have hated the Beaver Kid. I can't imagine you like the Beaver Kid.
God, why would you entertain a notion that I like this Beaver Kid? That's my question. Of course I hated the Beaver Kid. That was my question.
Like, I'm sure I probably got a little bit more of like an ironic enjoyment out of just like, oh my god, this is so stupid.
And then they gave him the mid-credit scene. I don't get it.
They did, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway. They even had him say, "Do better."
Oh man.
Anyway. But yeah, man, I like the kind of the motive with the hostage situation is the fact of Leguizamo's character. He's essentially Christmas was he got the raw deal during Christmas, tried to steal some presents, ended up killing a poor old guy, and kind of set his life into motion the way it went.
Okay, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying that much attention. Wasn't it his father that was trying to steal the presents?
Well, I could have sworn that his father I thought his father was kind of like.
His father lost his job and couldn't afford a Christmas.
That's the thing. So his father kind of was unable to deliver Christmas, so he stole from the rich family next door.
Okay, got it. I knew his father was like involved in the backstory. Okay.
Yeah, and the father was like, the father got laid off, so it wasn't like the father's a bad guy necessarily. I don't know. I don't think he was. Anyway, so again, it's pretty straightforward. So, trying to break into a vault that is in a rich person's house, and of course, it's so funny. We do both Die Hard and Die Hard 2 in this movie, which really cracks me up. Dragon,
because Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
I know both are. Both of them are. That's what cracks me up. It's like, oh man, we did the Die Hard 2 twist when the Kill Squad shows up, and like they're the Dirty Kill Squad, just like in Die Hard 2. And we kill one of them with an icicle, just like Die Hard 2.
Yeah.
So go on.
How about we talk about some of the kills?
Yeah. So, should we talk about Santa Claus like first coming to learn about a situation? Or you want to jump right to the kills?
I guess we can talk about Santa joining and then the kills.
Yeah. So Santa Claus is in the house. I love that he's kind of taking his time, taking advantage of. Well, I'm in a rich person's house. I'm going to drink some top shelf booze and eat cookies. Which I love how charmed he is by what Trudy left him. He has big old candy cane and homemade cookies.
No, I do like how with the cookies he very much appreciates, like he has like a metric of quality for the cookies.
Yeah,
it's like he's like. Ugh. And if you notice, he doesn't like skim milk.
No, he doesn't. That's the thing. That's why he would have drank that milk, but again, if between booze and skim milk, he's gonna go for the booze.
he likes the cookies, but then tried the milk. Like skim.
Yeah,
it's like little character moments like that.
Exactly, and he's in the massage chair. That's what I'm saying. Santa Claus is taking a well-deserved break, and then of course he just hears this chaos going on. It's like, oh no, Santa, get out of there. I love the detail that. Throughout this movie, we're stripping away all the tools of the trade, so Santa Claus is going back to who he was before he was Santa Claus, in a sense. So I love that the reindeer logically gets scared away from all the gunfire. Like,
as soon as the reindeer left, that was one of the elements of the script that I was very happy with. I was like, okay, that's good. Like, it's a very, like you said, Dragon, it's a very easily explainable situation, and we don't have that plot hole looming of like, what about the reindeer? They're up on the roof. Like, I was very glad that we just addressed that right off the bat.
Yeah, the fact that they would logically get scared. Of course they get scared. They're flying animals, but they're still dumb flying animals. They're gonna get scared by gunfire. I can't blame them.
Vincent Case here, he has a comment that says, with this Santa, he'd rather tradition be whiskey and cookies.
Whiskey and cookies, kids.
Pairs well. Everyone knows that pairs well.
It does.
Like he even said so much as himself.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to eggs, so like the traditional holiday eggnog is just not a thing I can do.
So you hate Easter then, right?
No, not.
And
I don't. I'm very apathetic towards Easter these days.
Well, it could
And
be
I-
a lethal holiday for you.
and I just don't like the flavor of plain eggs,
Yeah.
so I don't drink eggnog either.
I love plastic eggs, though.
Yeah, plastic eggs are nice. At least they.
Can I just think about how awesome are prize
God.
eggs, right?
Or what?
The Easter eggs, they call them prize eggs sometimes. Where you have like little gift or little coins, or like that's the way Easter used to be. Remember?
At my old pizza parlor that still exists. And by the way, fun fact: the pizza parlor in my town is one of the oldest standalone pizza parlors in the country. Pinky's Pizza in Petaluma. No, I'm. It's like standalone is in like it's not like a hole in the wall. It's like a whole like, because obviously there's been a lot of New York has a lot of I'm saying it's like a full restaurant, anyways. That just serve pizza. Maybe in California, maybe not the country. Maybe in California.
What's the point of the pizza, Tiki?
There was this vending machine that had like this little tiny like not animatronic, but this hen. And the hen had
I know what you're talking about. I have one of these in my drugstore.
Yes. So
Yeah, that's
that
what I'm
was
talking
a
about,
very
yeah.
early childhood memory of mine. Was the hen vending machine.
I'm saying prize eggs are cool, man. Anyway, back on point. So yes, I just love.
Next movie, Santa versus Easter Bunny.
All right, so ends with him killing the Easter Bunny.
Or at least them teaming up to face the threat together.
Oh, sure. Anyway, so I think I like that we see the progression. I love the nobody twist. Honestly, when Santa Claus is first accosted by a mercenary, I love there's the twist of nobody. You're kind of the marketing for this movie seemed like, okay, guy hits him in the face and then he basically takes care of this guy. But in the practice of the movie, it was very much like nobody, where it's not John Wick. He's like Hutch Menzel, where he's gonna. This is Santa Claus who's kind of he's out of practice after essentially kind of renouncing violence. So the skill is there, but it kind of has to be awakened. It's kind of a reluctant skill, but it's almost like Jackie Chan turned murderer, though.
No, I mean he's literally dropping F-bombs out of desperation, not because he knows that he not for his life, just because he really doesn't want to get into a violent conflict.
So that to me was a big surprise going to the movie, which is like, oh, we're going this way with it, kind of a little akin to nobody, but only it wasn't just one hit. It was like he's going to take a while.
It's like he's not seeking out the violence, but it's like he's not going to stand by and let people kick his ass.
Yeah.
All right, Vincent K has a comment. He says, "Okay, here's the thing. I like this movie, and a part of me wants a sequel, but I don't know where they could go other than someone trying to heist the North Pole." It's interesting because I do feel like building out the world is probably the only thing you could really do with a sequel. But at the same time, I feel like the reason why this is like considered a pretty good win for the studios is that it's only a $20 million movie. So it's not like it did gangbusters opening weekend, but it's still very much going to make its money back. Which is a thing more and more, with this whole I think the headlines are a little exaggerated, but the whole Avatar 2 has to make $2 billion to break even,
Avatar 2 doesn't have to do anything. Cameron will write his own check to put those rest of the movies out, okay? Exactly. Disney has a whole theme park that they're not going to not put out the other Avatar movies. This movie doesn't have to make anything.
The one thing that threatens Avatar 3 is time, Dragon.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Cameron lived long enough to finish it,
and before the fourth Avatar movie comes out.
Well, 3's coming out in 2 years.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
I'll believe that when I see it, Jacob.
It's already dated.
Well, yeah.
No, I know, but Avatar 2 had 5 release dates. Anyways, this isn't an Avatar podcast, but
let's not get bogged down with the Avatar, right?
Well, anyways, basically, the first kill just is like a standard self-defense kill, knocks him out of the window, impales him.
Yeah, on icicles.
Yeah. So it's like the kill. I mean, which is interesting, and Santa's first kill that we see. But
the kills are very standout.
Not until later, anyway.
Yeah. And the Christmas tree star being weaponized.
That was fun. Yeah.
When he plugs it in, it catches fire.
I love that detail. I love when he's just kind of wafting the smoke away of the human remains. It's just
he's like, yeah. He's like, and then later when he's like got the guy's walkie-talkie, he's like, yeah, like I plugged the star in, and then he caught fire.
I love it. He's not exactly having quite the Hans Zimmer, kind of Roy, kind of dynamic from Die Hard. It's a little more like it just kind of happened.
You mean Hans Gruber?
Wait, what did I say?
Hans Zimmer.
Oh.
Now I want to see a Die Hard parody where Hans Zimmer tries to heist a building.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's all good.
I was like using my music. I will command this building to be mine.
Well, remember, Hans Gruber does love Ode to Joy, so
He does.
So think about this: Hans Zimmer's version of that. Imagine that.
It's like, well, there you go.
Oh no, but seriously, so he doesn't quite have like the whole, the kind of the Roy and Hans Gruber back and forth banter. It's more of just like this guy ain't the real Santa, and then of course, just like he kind of caught fire.
I mean, I said that was hilarious.
That was my father's favorite kill in the movie.
I think it's probably a lot of people's favorite kills. I mean, I can see why people would like that one. Yeah. I mean, mainly because of like the sheer and it doesn't really feel like it carries on to it's just like he stabs him in the eye, and then he turns it on, and then then when he's down he catches.
And it's not like him being malicious, him just being afraid of okay, I'll plug it in.
Out of more curiosity rather than malice, and then he's like, huh. He's like, so that's what happens.
So two things that aren't necessarily Santa killing them, but just two other violent things that happen in Violent Night. I love, as a result of violence, I love that he uses gift wrap as a bandage.
Yeah, that's fun.
And he ties the bow, which is even better. Also, the Nutcracker thing, I was really afraid.
The Nutcracker thing was one of the most memorable parts of the movie for me, dude.
Oh God!
I was actually doing my grandma's Christmas decorations later that night, and I saw one of those big Nutcrackers, and I couldn't help but think, ooh, yikes!
Long story short, I was basically clenching the whole time. I was
You're wondering because this movie, this is the one precedent this movie sets in this sort of thing. Is like we saw how this movie opened. Santa Claus threw up on a poor barmaid, and anything could happen. It's a question of how far Santa Claus just burned a man alive after jamming a Christmas star in his eye, and so it's like, oh God! I mean, in theory,
and especially
go that far here,
and also since they showed the finger being twisted.
Exactly. But that's a finger, man. I was worried, oh God, please don't, like Wazamo, don't say, and he did. He said it's not called a finger cracker. It's like, oh no, he's reading the dialogue I've written in my head. No, it's like I was clenching the whole time. I was like, oh God. I love the hilarious. I love the semantics of a Candy Cane. That's the it's the female mercenary's name. She's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not touching that. No.
And then she's like, let's scoop out someone's brains earlier. It's like, yeah, that's brains. These are his balls.
Exactly. It's like, no, I'm not doing that, man. I'll call a union. I don't want to.
It's like. Apparently, she has standards.
Yeah. I mean, kill her with standards, oddly enough. But
and apparently, she draws the line at grabbing somebody else's balls to crush them.
Yeah.
But Krampus is more than willing.
No, Krampus is eager as a school.
Oh my God! Okay, Krampus is the highlight from the villain point of view, I think.
Of course, when the pants went down, thank goodness the underwear stayed on because
I mean, Lake Wazamo's having fun, but I really do think that Krampus kind of steals the show on that side of the movie.
Yeah. I love Lake Wazamo just calling out. This is a fun subversion of the action trope. Him saying, "I did the research. I know. So enough of the tough talk. I know." Right, you have no leverage here.
Right.
Did he actually mention Die Hard in the movie?
Yeah, they mentioned it at least once. I forget who's precise, but they did mention Die Hard at least once.
I mean, it was kind of obligatory.
Yeah, they had. I mean, they have to at least call it out somewhere. I felt so bad for that poor guy at the gate.
Yeah.
And the thing that breaks my heart in the most wonderful of ways is Santa Claus. He knew him because he was on the nice list.
Mm-hmm. It's like you can even go like, Al.
I know that was the thing. It's like, this is why David.
Yeah.
David Harbour was so wonderful as Santa Claus in this movie when he brought out those moments despite all the violence, man.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Vincent, I do see your comment about the Lake Wazamo kill. I do want
We'll
to.
get
That
there.
was also my favorite kill, but I want to build to that. So I see ya. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Yeah.
So let's see. A couple things I want to mention. One, I really do like his backstory as well. What do you guys think? Like
It was like
him
how you-
basically being like a medieval warlord.
he's basically
love-
he's basically a Viking warrior.
Yeah.
At least it seems like Vikings, given the helmet and the hammer, obviously. But yeah, here's the thing. There's only one thing, and I don't blame the movie. I think I just missed something because I would like to rewatch the movie because I just think I missed it. Unless you or Tiki remember this. Do you remember how the Santa Claus thing chosen? Like, how did he become Santa? Did you? Because I knew what he was before Santa, but
I said I don't think it was explicitly explained.
Yeah, I honestly think it's kind of vague.
because I don't
But
need.
you
Let me
could-
put it this way, I don't need it necessarily laid out like all the specifics of how, but I just kind of wish it was like it seems like okay, he used to be a Viking, but can we say like then he I don't know something to kind of transition to how he became Santa vaguely?
I mean, there might have been something, but I only saw it on Saturday, so I don't really remember that.
But the point being, but that's I'm not really complaining about that. That's kind of an element I wish I kind of knew about the lore. But yeah, the idea of Santa Claus, and I like how throughout the movie we kind of strip him of this. We strip away the reindeer, and we also heartbreakingly we destroyed the Santa. Like, no children's dreams were in that bag.
Oh God, yeah.
And I was like,
I
I
do like how emotional Harbor gets over that.
Yeah,
I did-
that did break. The bag was. I love the gift bag. Man, I love him pull out anything he ever needed from that thing. That was awesome. He killed a guy with one of those things.
I do kind of like how when Santa was captured, and they're like pulling all the look how much shit is in here,
Yeah.
and they're like it's magic, and then he's like who? It's like I'm gonna do it again. Who are you, Santa Claus? And they just didn't believe him, and then he went up the chimney, and they're like, maybe he's the real Santa Claus.
I love that the henchmen fully believe it, but Leguizamo just will not admit it.
Yeah, Leguizamo or Scrooge. His name is Scrooge in the.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, so Scrooge. I love how Scrooge is in complete denial of this.
It's like he has like physical proof.
Mhm.
He probably should have seen it based on how the bag, but the colors that the bag went into when he threw it into the fire.
Mhm.
But he's still denying it.
Yeah. But yeah, the idea he was like
he's a magic denier.
Sure. But so anyways, the fact that Santa Claus, like in his past, he was kind of this raider, kind of warrior with with the skull crusher, the hammer. Nice little playmate for Stormbreaker. But just the idea that he was it seems like Santa Claus is trying to redeem himself through Christmas. And I thought that was a really nice layer to add to Santa Claus. The idea, like it's the idea people can change, and he kind of went from being super naughty to kind of becoming a good guy.
I really did like his lines. Like, if there's a naughty list back then, I would have been top dog.
Yeah.
And he said, I just thought that was a pretty neat line. It's like, I mean, that really like shows how serious how serious it was.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's like, and I like how they don't like make these. It is kind of interesting, at least not until the very end, how he's not able to effortlessly kill these guys. Like he actually has to like evade, run away, be creative with how he does these things.
Because of this backstory, we show Santa Claus is very vulnerable. He's just a really good warrior, and he's never really had to fight for a long time. And because of that, he's not really. I mean, the magic essentially makes him immortal, but not makes him more eternal than immortal. He's young, but it doesn't mean he can't die.
Like,
Or at least as far as we know, because he kind of comes back to life in this movie, so we don't know. He doesn't know either.
And obviously, he can feel pain.
Yeah, that's the thing. So because of that, I mean, we're feeling the stakes of it here. Again, it's more he's less John Wick of like I'll just walk it off to the Hutch Menzel, where it's like, oh man, Odenkirk could die in this thing.
Yeah. Is there anything else we need? Is there anything else we should discuss? Or
Well, the big thing we should.
Alone.
Well,
Home Alone.
Well, we have to. Well,
Go on,
one
Dragon.
thing before Home Alone we have to talk about, or else Home Alone doesn't really track at all. The MVP of the movie, we got to talk about Santa and the little girl. We got to talk about him and Trudy.
Trudy.
Yes.
For Gertrude.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the big, and when I was in the theater, man, I don't know, it was just like a lively crowd or what, but there was this. there was this family that were just going, "Oh," constantly
Oh,
with
God.
the dynamic. I was enjoying it, man. It was almost like that Solo experience I told you about.
Uh,
Like,
uh,
I tell you, man, it was. I just love the idea of. To me, what I was hoping for in this movie that essentially we saw here is that I love the idea of Santa Claus caring about kids. It's just the heart and thesis of this film and the lengths of which that our pure icons are willing to go for kids. It's always something like I told, with the kidding example, like, look at kidding essentially with like a Mr. Rogers in the world today. It's like the question of, wouldn't it be nice if like kind of these icons of these pure childhood icons, like when the chips were down and children were in peril, like they would do something, they would go to great lengths or even buy the rate the lengths of violence to save a child if they were truly in peril or about to be victimized in some way. So this is kind of like that epitomized in this movie. So that was my favorite aspect of this film. Him seeing her in the window, he was going to book it, man. And then he had like the little. I love the device of the Santa walkie-talkie. That was kind of like a talking to a wishing well, practically. And it's like, oh wait, there he's responding.
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
It was a cool device, and again, it evokes Die Hard with the Al Palvo, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure is why that guy was called Al. By the way, I think that was a Die Hard reference.
mhm.
And yeah, just this thing of like his faith getting revitalized with this little girl that you're rooting for, and her reminding Santa Claus what he's fighting for, and the whole shoving the coal up the buttholes to that's a little borderline, Trudy. Anuses? Well, I mean it's medically correct, yeah, but
I love that. He's like shoving up their ass. Like yeah, that's naughty language.
See, that's what I'm saying. This is what the best part of the movie is for. It's just like that dynamic of like, there's this it's unconventional Santa Claus, but he does care. He loves them.
He's like, their buttholes. It's not much better. He's like, anuses. Well, that is medically correct.
I'm saying it's perfect. It's just great.
Oh,
Something it was just really fun. So, point you care about this kid, and the kids had recently saw Home Alone, which then I love. She is permitted by Santa Claus to do Home Alone shenanigans. Just don't get caught. Yes, but you can. Sure, set some Home Alone booby traps. And what happens, Tiki?
I mean, technically, it does fall under self-defense.
It does. So Tiki, why don't you lead us off here?
I mean, it's basically just a very R-rated Home Alone, and it's glorious. And the fact
it's basically
that
what would actually happen.
Yeah,
what would happen to the wet
exactly.
bandits in real life?
I mean, he's like trying not to step on the nail, but when he fell down and landed his on, I was like, oh.
So the thing with the nail is that if y'all have watched the original Quiet Place, you know that movie makes a meal out of the nail in the staircase. And I never thought there would be a movie scene more visceral than that. And I don't even think that this scene is as visceral as that, just because like in the moment, like of course you have the whole factor of like it's the pain of stepping on the nail mixed with like you can't make a sound, but still like the jaw through the nail, just oh my god.
It's like yeah, I think I'm remembering the Quiet Place is making my foot hurt right now.
Oh yeah.
Well, the thing is,
go on.
This is like the ultimate kind of. Everyone's for years have joked about like the Corridor Crew, for example. They do like the R-rated versions of like, what if these injuries actually were practical, like in Civil War and all those sorts of stuff. It's like, well, what if Captain America threw a shield at somebody Mach 10? They're probably going to get sliced in half, that sort of thing. But yeah, so it's kind of like a thing they've joked about for years with Home Alone. We have seen actualized here. Like, yeah, they would. This would be the most horrific thing you've ever seen, and done by a child, but again, permitted by Santa Claus for self-defense purposes. Like, yeah, and these are bad people though. It's like, yeah, I mean, they deserve this. It's pretty. It's like they're gonna kill. They're gonna go after a child, and essentially, ultimately, the plan is to kill these hostages anyway. So she's a goner. And I tell you, man, I take a lot of satisfaction in after Candy Cane, the lady. She climbs up there, and she's all these bowling balls are going at her, and then of course ultimately Trudy's little slingshot maneuver is kind of failing on her, and she's about to be killed by this lady, who's been through the ringer. To be fair,
she was actually able to load that slingshot pretty quickly. She even got like a weight in there.
Yeah, that's the thing. The weight it was great. The fact like she's been glued to the thing, she lost a lot of hair when she did she unglued herself. But regardless,
yeah, that would hurt.
Santa Claus coming to her aid and telling Trudy to like sing Jingle Bells and cover ears and everything. I get that. I took some satisfaction from you were gonna kill an innocent child. Innocent?
Yeah, totally.
Admittedly, but still, was gonna kill a child. Santa Claus will not stand by that.
I mean,
bam.
Compared to you, I'd be like, compared to you, sure, she just did all that, but compared to Candy King, Judy's a saint.
Yeah.
I mean, you were straight up trying to kill her, and that's the reason why she did all that.
Exactly. So it was like, yeah, man, Santa Claus, you protect that little girl. Yeah.
One quick note on the violence that I want to mention is I frankly think that this movie has way better hammer action than anything that we saw in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Well, I don't know if that's kind of like
it's a different kind of it's a different kind of hammer action.
Yeah, you're right, because Thor literally wanted to get some action with his hammer.
Come on, why do you have to take it there? Come on.
The movie took it there.
Anyway,
all it did was show the hammer being jealous. That's it.
I know. I'm kind of kidding.
Well, if anything, Stormbreaker was.
No, you're right. You're right. Stormbreaker was the one that wanted to take it there.
Now, if this Santa had it, which by this is gonna bother me. You look up images.
It doesn't have that precedence because because remember and Ragnar's like, oh my god, the hammer pulled you off.
Yeah, that was yeah. Regardless, here's something though. It bugs me. It's a little nitpick, not against the movie, just with the marketing. I don't know how official these posters were, but I saw a number of posters looking for this image that we had before us here.
With Candy Cane, yeah.
Yeah, with Candy. There is an image. I have to assume it's fan made, otherwise, just the marketing department just kind of really did not watch the movie. He's going in the chimney, and you have like an arm reaching out with an axe, which I think is just another movie called Violent Night. But if that is the case, if that is linked to this movie, it's like, well, he doesn't have an axe at all. It's all hammers, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just that. I think it's just a coincidence, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there's a chimney, definitely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, sure, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, when he gets his hands on that sledgehammer, man, it's like an old friend. Like, hello, old friend. Man, him wielding that sledgehammer is awesome. And talk about the wood chipper death.
Oh God, yeah.
The way he took out the kill squad, it's like, yep, that's the badass Viking Santa we come to see.
And the candy cane, which I believe Tiki just referenced moments ago. But yeah, the licking the. But again, I'll true to it was like an innocent gift to Santa Claus, and my God, did he weaponize that thing?
Like, yep, right through the eye.
Yeah. I kind of went by. I love when he's looking in the window to decide to save. Like, like thinking, "Oh, I cannot let this girl, perish like this family is inevitably going to."
Yeah.
I love that he's holding like the little Santa cookie, the little crappy Santa cookie that she made, and he's like, "Oh," it's like he can't.
Fuck.
It's great.
Like he could have gotten out of there at any time, but
yeah.
He chose to save the day.
So speaking of exits in Santa Claus, so we should probably talk about the kill of the movie. So
this was freaking glorious.
You can take it away, Tiki. We all enjoyed it, but you've hyped it up.
I really, yeah. The whole idea of realistically, like, what would happen if an actual human body, like, this is totally some Mythbuster shit, and I love it. If an actual human body was like propelled up a chimney at a very high speed.
Yep.
Oh, it's not pretty.
Yeah, it was even with being a big chimney, it did not help.
That was a creative use of Santa's magic.
It makes sense because they have to save, if they're going to have a lot of creative Christmas kills, you have to save the best one for last, especially if it's your lead bad guy with Scroogey here. So yeah, just oh my God, he's just utterly just. Like, plus, when we drop him on the ground, like there's no face or anything. It's just horrific. It's just like a chunk.
And this is all after he realized, like, oh my God, you are the real Santa.
Mm-hmm. And I love these things. I can actually end this whole effing holiday once and for all.
Right.
Yeah, so that's just great. Now, again, I will admit, just before like this thing really salvaged things. Again, plot wise, it was just kind of like we had the weird twist of our one good family member potentially with Jason was with the trying to get out of the parent's thumb and everything, the family's thumb. Stole 300 million. Was it
Reckon
300
it was
million?
like the most weak sauce, like wannabe Kendall Roy bullshit.
I mean, the thing that really bugged me is that there's no consequences for this action
Yeah,
because, like,
yeah,
ethically,
yeah.
there's a big problem here. Like, the mother's perfectly fine. I would have done the same thing. I'm proud of you. And then
I
like,
mean, I kind of like how Logan Roy might sort of react.
well, sure, but not that fast. That Logan really take like a season to do that.
Of course, yeah.
But that's the thing. Then you have like the thing that really bugs me is that we gave Trudy her wish, and her wish was like realized in a really unconventional way. Like, don't worry, Santa, we got this. Like, nope, there's still one guy left, and we kill him together. And hey, it got mommy and daddy back together again, even though she should have reservations after he was going to steal 300 million. And kind of go on the lam with them. I don't know. It's a little unresolved.
Yeah, I hear you. I honestly think like if they needed, I don't know. Again, I really do feel like the whole, as cool as it was to see Beverly D'Angelo in a Christmas movie, I feel like the extended family really didn't add a lot to this movie. I feel like maybe if like I get wanting the family to be rich just because it's a nice house, but I mean, I honestly think if you would have just leaned into the whole idea of like, it's divorced parents and they're spending the Christmas together because of the kid, and that's where the family tension is. I don't know. I just feel like it would have been a little bit better for it.
Yeah. I was really worried. I'm glad they didn't go this direction. I was worried that Beverly D'Angelo was going to kill Santa.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ.
Because remember, she had that gun, and she does, she shoots the bad guy, thank goodness. But it's just for a moment, there's like, we saw Santa get shot, and like, oh no, and she had the gun. There might be some greed there. I don't know why on earth she would kill Santa, and thankfully, there's no real reason she would kill Santa, because he's saving their bacon right now. So, yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I was afraid it was going to go in that direction. Like, we've seen so many other movies going where it's like, yeah, now I'm the bad guy, really, because I'm the name talent.
Oh, God. Yeah.
It's like, well, like he kills Scrooge going up there, and then she kills the leader of the kill squad.
Yep, and but of course we believe in Santa Christ to revive Santa.
Pretty much, yeah.
it's like Santa does come back to life. I mean, it is kind of they can't kill off Santa.
Well, you believed it though. You believed they could have though, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, but it's like it played into like all those old Christmas traditions, like oh, we believe, which was still heartwarming though.
Speaking of heartwarming, I love them burning that money to try and keep them warm.
Yeah, it's like and then Alva was like, you don't have to burn the money. I'm like,
oh God,
I'm like, bitch, that's Santa. Money can
let's burn Alva next. Let's throw her in the fire. It'll be fine.
I'm like, bitch, that's Santa Claus.
Yeah, lady, yeah.
But then as comes back to life, and then Jason's like, it's like I don't know how we can ever repay you. And he's like, well, you did bring me back from the dead, so I think we're even.
That's great.
I mean, he has a point.
He does.
I mean, I saved your family, and you brought me back to life, so I think we're even.
Even Steven. Now, how great was the ending with the reindeer? The reindeer came back after all. Santa's so pissed off at these reindeer. I don't blame him. Come back,
and then they come back, and there's the sleigh. I mean, it has the spare bag, and it's like I just can't stay mad at you guys.
I love that. I just freaking love that. They show with the spare bag, so the reindeer have kind of saved Christmas, and then.
Because in the back of his mind, like it's not really heavily emphasized in the movie, but in the back of his mind throughout the movie, he is like, Christmas is fucked this year because of this.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that now Christmas can be saved because there's the bag, so we can fix everything this year. And then
Mrs. Claus, who we revealed that he's still with, packed Skull Crusher.
Yeah. So I love the fact that Mrs. Claus wrote him that note and we kind of hyped up a little bit of Mrs. Claus. And it's like, yeah, even though we didn't see her, it did feel like you saw some joy on his face. Like, oh, my wife still loves me.
It's like, she's like, you might need this.
Yeah.
It's like, who knows? Maybe he'll come across another family that needs some skulls bashed in.
There you go.
Be nice if Winona Ryder was Mrs. Claus, just for the Stranger Things continuity.
You know, man, that's actually a really good idea.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Wouldn't that be nice though? Wouldn't it be nice if Winona Ryder were Mrs. Claus?
Yeah, I
would
think it'd
be.
be a solid casting.
It would be. She'd make a good Mrs. Claus.
That'd be cute. It'd be nice. Horror might have some pull. It might be able to make that happen if they do a sequel. Which again, it'd be odd if they did a sequel, but who knows?
And of course, we see Santa fly away into the full moon, fully having recaptured the joy he once had for Christmas.
Yeah, all it took was a lot of bloodshed to do so.
A bunch of bloodshed and one sweet little girl.
Yeah.
All right.
Two secret ingredients.
Yep. To make Christmas great.
Yes.
Okay, well, that'll do it. Big thanks to Vincent K for joining us in the comments. Dragon, you want to just do the outro? Any final thoughts? I don't know.
You literally have the thing in. All right. Let's. So yeah, some final thoughts. Just Jacob, what do you got?
Well, like I said, I pretty much said what my final thoughts were at the very beginning, but I'll kind of repeat them here for finality's sake. As I put a nice bow on it, if you will.
Yeah, let's put that bow on there.
Like I said, it's not like the deepest movie and the deepest Christmas movie, or even probably the most deepest violent Santa movie for all we know. But like I said, if you see the trailer, you know what you're going for. I mean, I'd say it's better than what I was. It was exceeded my expectations, and I was thoroughly entertained by it. Like I said, some parts probably could have been better, but I mean, then again, that can be said for pretty much any movie. Is it like the best movie I've ever seen? No. But like I said, I had fun. It was entertaining. The kills are creative, and there were several laugh out loud moments that I thoroughly enjoyed. Like I said, I would definitely watch it again, or at least rent it when it comes out next year.
Yeah, I thought this was a very enjoyable film. My folks loved it when they went to see it with me because they insisted. My mother loves Stranger Things, so again, she went for the David Harbour. My father loves horror and violence and stuff, so he loved that aspect of it as well. I love this take on Santa. It's not 100% what I expected going into it, but there was a lot of fun. There was a lot of fun to be had with and it has just the right amount of Christmas spirit. And again, I want more action movies in kind of with the nobody flavor attached to it, kind of like this. It's like let's do action ways, kind of some creative ways we haven't seen before. So I mean, obviously I think still we need to fine tune our plots a little bit, but even so, this again works. You know what you're getting. You're satisfied with what you get. This works. I like it.
Yep. It's funny you mentioned horror, Dragon, because honestly, I feel like one of the things with this movie is that people who were kind of walking in expecting more of a horror movie. First of all, I don't really like this movie. It wasn't really advertised as a horror movie. I've actually I've heard some people say that this movie doesn't go hard enough with the kills, and I'm like, no, I don't. Having seen the movie, I don't really agree with that.
You put a grenade down a guy's pants, essentially up his anus, and
right.
I was like, okay, I gotta watch.
Yeah.
I think this is a good example of the type of mid-tier movie that I do like to see from studios nowadays, because it just feels like everything is, so superhero and franchise focused, franchise, that, every once in a while it is just nice to see a solid 7 out of 10 action movie with a good premise executed well. And this is exactly what it is. So I can't complain.
All right.
So, Tiki.
Yes.
What should we do right now?
That's
right, folks.
Let's peek beneath the wrapping paper, Dragon.
There,
What's coming up next?
Oh,
Sorry.
let me tear the paper a little bit here. Let me look around here. Oh, I see some red. I see some black. I see some white. But it's not what you think. I'm detecting some Ryan Reynolds, but I'm also why am I getting shades of Elf here? What kind of crazy combination is this? And is that?
Can I guess? Can I guess what it is?
Sure. What the heck, boy? What do you got?
Is it the movie Spirited?
How did you? Are you beyond? Did you get me this?
Yes, I did, Dragon.
This is what we're gonna get into this soon. We're gonna get into it soon. We're gonna wrap it. We're gonna enjoy it, or maybe not. I don't know. We're gonna experience it. Oh wow!
Oh yeah.
All right, folks. I'm Dashaway, 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 all, but as we wave goodbye, don't you cry. We'll be back again next time.
With even more seasonal shenanigans.
La 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 la. It's like, okay, I have to watch.